clerk will report.
Nomination, Department of State, Marco Rubio of Florida to be Secretary.
Democratic leader.
Well, tonight the Senate will vote on the confirmation of Senator Rubio to serve as the next Secretary of State. Democrats have been very clear about our approach to President Trump's nominees. We will neither rubber stamp nominees we feel are grossly unqualified, nor will we reflexively oppose nominees that deserve serious consideration. Senator Rubio is an example of a qualified nominee we think should be confirmed quickly. Earlier today, he was unanimously reported out of committee with full support from Democrats, and he should be quickly confirmed here on the floor. So today I will vote yes on Senator Rubio. While I certainly do not agree with many of Senator Rubio's positions, in this instance, it is important for the new administration to have a Senate-confirmed Secretary of State as soon as possible. So I'll vote yes. Republicans did the same with Secretary Clinton during the first Obama administration. It was appropriate then. It is appropriate now. I will vote yes.
Mr. President.
Senator from Idaho.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today to confirm President Trump's first appointment, that being our colleague Marco Rubio, to be the 72nd Secretary of State of this great country. His nomination was voted positively and unanimously out of the Foreign Relations Committee just moments ago, actually. 16 years ago, I came here and sat down in the Foreign Relations Committee, took a seat at the very end. That afternoon, I got on the Intelligence Committee, took a seat at the very end. 2 years later, Marco came in and sat next to me. During that period of time, he and I have worked together a tremendous number of hours on many issues. We are in a time when America faces threats from nearly every corner of the world. It's no secret that hostile powers from China to Russia, from North Korea to Iran, have formed an authoritarian axis bent on weakening the United States. We need a principled, action-oriented chief diplomat like Marco Rubio to take them on. Our challenges in the foreign relations lane and the national security lane are enormous and complicated. I can't think of another person better equipped to tackle these issues than our colleague Marco Rubio. I would encourage anyone who wants a clear understanding of the United States foreign policy, look at and watch the recording of Marco's performance before the Foreign Relations Committee last week. I would say to you, his performance was flawless. Marco's qualifications and ability to stand in the shoes of Thomas Jefferson, our first Secretary of State, and the 70 who followed him, Marco's qualifications are unchallengeable. I urge you all to join me in voting for Marco Rubio.
Mr. President.
Senator from New Hampshire.
Thank you, Mr. President. The position of Secretary of State is one of the most important in our entire government. Given the uncertainty around the globe right now, it is in America's interest not to skip a beat and to fill this role immediately. That's why I'm pleased that the Foreign Relations Committee has not only moved quickly today to hold a business meeting, but we unanimously confirmed Senator Rubio's nomination. I've had a good working relationship with Senator Rubio for many years, and I was very impressed at his hearing by his grasp of policy. While we may not always agree, I believe he has the skills, knowledge, and qualifications to be Secretary of State. So I intend to vote in favor of Marco Rubio to be Secretary of State, and I urge my colleagues to do the same.
The question occurs on the nomination of the great Senator Marco Rubio of Florida to be Secretary of State.
Soon to be the great former senator.
There is. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks. Senators voting in the affirmative: Also Brooks, Baldwin, Banks, Barrasso, Bennett, Blackburn, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Cantwell, Capito, Cassidy, Coons, Cornyn, Cortez Masto, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Duckworth, Durbin, Ernst, Fisher, Gallego, Gillibrand, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hassan, Hawley, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Hovind, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kane, Kelly, Kennedy, Kim, Klobuchar, Langford, Lee, Lujan, Lummis, Marshall, McCormick, Merkley, Moreno, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Hall, Peters, Reed, Ricketts, Risch, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Slotkin, Smith, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, Wicker, Wyden, Young. Ms. Rosen, aye. Mrs. Shaheen, aye. Mr. Van Hollen, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Schumer, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Mullen, aye. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Rounds, aye. Mr. Markey, aye. Mr. King, aye. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Rubio, aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, aye. Mr. Fetterman, aye.
Say before. On this vote, the yeas are 99, the nays are 0. The nomination of the great Senator Marco Rubio from the state of Florida is confirmed. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the President will be immediately notified of the Senate's action. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate resume legislative session and be in a period of morning business with senators permitted to speak therein for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I have 4 requests for committees to meet during today's session of the Senate. They have the approval of the majority and minority leaders.
Duly noted.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the letters from Senator Rubio regarding his resignation from the Senate be printed in the record.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I move to proceed to calendar number 4S6.
Clerk will report.
Motion to proceed to calendar number 4S6.